Gene Woods Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and
Happy Thursday, everybody. It's the fourth Thursday of the month here on Geeks Are Sexy. I'm your host, Jason LeDuc, taking over from Michelle Davis, and we're here to talk about business in Las Vegas and how to be successful here in Las Vegas, whether you're a business owner, you're working for a business, or you're just looking for some tips to be successful in your personal life. We've got a bunch of great guests for you today. We've got Chris DiLorenzo is going to come in. He's a CPA, and he's going to talk to us about some of the new things that have changed with this year's tax law, and he's going to give us some hints on what is settled and you can count on and what you need to watch out for in the future. And then we're going to have Sunny Shabro on, and she's from the Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation. She'll be here to tell us more about that and the great work they're doing in our community for our military members and military families here in Las Vegas. But first, to talk today about some HR stuff is Greg Wilkin from Endunamo Consulting.
That's right.
Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Okay.
Yeah. Way to go.
I prepared, but I wasn't sure I was preparing right. So Greg is the founder of Endunamo Consulting. He's passionate about helping organizations succeed and grow by improving their human resources. He started his career working for the U.S. Department of Labor and Education. I want to talk a little bit more about that. But you were developing workforce education policy. Then you went to law school and became a lawyer, a practicing lawyer.
That's right, and I'm still in recovery for that.
Still in recovery. Well,
right.
that's a long road. I've got a couple friends who are doing that, and I think it's one of those things you're never fully over.
That's right.
It's day by day, right? One day at
a time, as they say. Right.
So, to please tell us, how did you go from developing policy for the federal government, labor and education policy, to where you're at today?
Yeah, well, thanks, Jason. It's great to be here, and I love the view. Boy, you've really taken me back a long way. But I think that I've always been interested in kind of how organizations work, how they succeed, and particularly how they use their human resources to be successful. So I started out working in the government, doing policy, kind of gravitated towards employment and labor law, and then more recently been in human resources. But the common theme throughout it is sort of using your employees to be successful.
Yeah, and that's what this show is all about. That's what my company is all about, is leadership, and how do you build a team around you to be successful. I'm a big believer that we build teams around us to achieve things that are bigger than we could achieve on their own, and that's what HR is all about. When you get into a larger business environment or even a small business, is how do you build that team and how do you keep that team moving along while the team goes and focuses on getting the mission of the company done, right?
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of people in HR, a lot of people outside of HR, I think, focus on the resources part of it, and I like to think about the human part of it, because that's really what it's all about.
I agree. It's no matter. I was talking to some friends last night. There was a UNLV MBA mixer last night, and we were talking about really no matter what business you're in, it's always a people business. Whether it's your customers, even if you're in a tech company, you've got customers, you've got vendors. You're always in a people business. You're always trying to help a person do something or solve a problem that they've got, and keeping the human in human resources. Maybe that's the title of your new book, if that's not already taken.
It probably is, and yeah, someday I'll write a book about all the stories I've collected, but that's on the bucket list.
Well, thanks for being here today. There is a lot to be positive about in the economy right now. We're at the lowest unemployment levels, not just nationwide, but here in Nevada in over 10 years. And that's a big deal for Nevada, because we've been lagging a little bit behind the rest of the country on the unemployment numbers, but things are really starting to turn around. And even the national jobless claims came in. I saw the headline this morning. Jobless claims that they reported yesterday or earlier today came in much lower, several thousand lower than they were expecting. So there's a lot to be positive about with the economy. Things are growing, businesses are starting. But with that, with unemployment being so low, our labor market gets a little tight. And that means employees have a lot more opportunities. So what are some of the things that small business owners or even larger business owners, larger corporations need to think about in this labor market? What can they do to keep their employees around?
Yeah, well, it's a great time to be an employee. It's a great time to be a business owner, because the economy is doing so well. So I would say there are three things that you really want to focus on to retain your employees. Focus on your hiring, your onboarding, and how you take care of your employees once you've hired them. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a little more detail, but your hiring process really ought to be focused on the employee. A lot of times hiring processes are focused on the company. And I think about, if you're going to sell your house, you don't just put a sign in the front yard and hope people show up. You get the house ready, you do everything you can to really make it an attractive place for buyers. It should be the same with if you're hiring employees. You want to attract the best, you want to attract people who are excited about coming to your company. So think about it from the very first time they put in their application or they even express interest. Onboarding, not just filling out forms, not just putting somebody at their desk on their very first day of work and saying, here's the employee handbook and come back in a couple of days. So make sure they've got a full schedule their first few days, weeks, and even out until 90 days so they feel like they're productive. And focus on the little things. The first day in the job, where are the bathrooms? Where is the break room? How do you use the copy machine? Where do you park? The first day on the job is stressful enough without having to worry about those little things. And then, most importantly, once they're hired, do everything you can to check in with them, see how they're doing, give them regular feedback, particularly at the very beginning. Every week, every couple of weeks, and positive if they're kind of getting off track a little bit, so that they feel as though they've made the right decision in coming to your company.
Okay, great. One of the things I like to think about, my business is just me right now, but when I've been involved, when I was in the Air Force, involved in bringing people into the squadron in some of the things we did where we had some authority to hire outside of the normal personnel process, one of the things I always like to think about was not just what am I hiring them for today, but what can I grow them into in the future?
Right.
And giving them kind of a development path that I can talk to them about in that first 90 days and give them some encouragement of, I'm invested in your future. We want you to have a future here. You're not just here to fill a seat. Is that kind of along the lines that you're talking about?
Absolutely, and particularly for small businesses, because small businesses, startups, growing businesses, you may not be able to compete just in terms of compensation and benefits. And the bigger companies may be able to offer more generous benefit and comp packages. So everything you can do to help employees feel as though they're part of the organization, they're part of the mission, developing them, suggesting opportunities for training if you can, whether it's paid training or there's a lot of free online resources, and just having those conversations with employees about where do you see yourself going, what is it that you like about work, what is it that you find challenging, what would you like to do in your in the next role, hopefully within this company. So there are a lot of things that you can do that don't directly hit your bottom line and come out of your expenses.
Well, and my experience is, and I think the literature backs this up, is that employees don't quit a lot of times over money, or they don't quit because of the job they're doing. Employees don't quit a company, they quit a boss, as the saying goes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, all the research says usually the number one reason employees leave is because they didn't like their manager, their supervisor, their direct boss.
Yeah. And so if your employees are already leaving, in some ways it's a little too late. It's a little too late to have that conversation with the employee who's already left about your future here and how we want to develop you. But one of the things you and I talked about that you may be able to do to stem the tide if some of your employees are starting to leave is implement some kind of recognition program in your company if you don't already have one. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, there are a few things. Recognition programs, and we use the term recognition program, makes it sound a little bit more formal than it is. It can be, and there are a lot of good online resources, but recognition is simply talking to your employees to find out what's on their mind, what do they like about their job, and having your supervisors, your managers do that if you've gotten to the point where you have enough employees where they're managed. So recognition really is just simply talking to employees and finding out how it's going, what they like, maybe some challenges that they're facing. And as you grow, you can add a more formal program. A couple of other things that you can do when you talked about employees who are leaving, I would really recommend that you have an exit interview program.
For sure.
Okay? And now that doesn't help the employee, doesn't get them to come back, but if you do exit interviews, you find out why employees are leaving, and you can make changes to prevent that. There's a new kind of a concept that's going around in human resources. It's called stay interviews, and it's much like exit interviews, but you do them with employees while they're still there to find out what might cause them to leave, and you have those regular discussions, or your managers have those discussions, and that really does help lower your turnover, because you're getting employees and identifying issues that might cause them to leave before they do so.
Well, that's awesome. So what I'm hearing is, throughout the course of our interview, is get out from behind your desk, talk to your employees, put your phone down, get to know the people who are working for you, and figure out where they want to head in their lives, and see if you can help them get there.
Really is as simple as that. It's not rocket science. It's some very basic things. A little hard to do. You've got a lot to do if you're a small business owner. You've got to keep the lights on. You've got to keep customers coming in. But the basic things with your HR practices will really make a difference.
Well, and that's something that you can help businesses with their HR practices. That's what your company's all about, is helping people who need some help with it. So why don't you tell our viewers where they can find you if they need some of your help?
Yeah, and I'm glad you got the name of the company right. It's called Endynamo. That stands for, it's the Greek word for empowerment, and my company helps to empower you to be more successful. www.endynamo.com is the website, greg.wilkin@endynamo.com, or you can call me directly, 651-270-4273. I'd love to talk to you, help you out with any HR issues that you might be having, and really give you the time to focus on growing your business and not worrying about the HR problems that might come up.
And that's what it's all about, being a leader and being a decision maker and getting the pros to help you with the nuts and bolts when you need it. So thank you for coming, Greg. Great to have you. We're going to bring you back in a little while for our panel discussion. Stick here. We're going to have Chris DiLorenzo here. He's going to be telling you all the myths and the reality about the new tax law that passed at the end of last year. Stick around.
Gene Woods Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and 3-time champion, packs big racing action into extremely fast, high-performance karts that let you battle the other competitors side by side, just inches off the ground. Though the Las Vegas Strip provides a glittering backdrop, to the drivers at Gene Woods Racing Experience, the blinking lights are all a blur. Behind the wheel of the high-performance karts, you'll zip around the half-mile track at speeds faster than other standard racing karts' top speeds. Drivers learn to commandeer the speedy karts through an instructional video before they are let loose onto the curving track for 10 heart-pounding laps. We are located at 121 East Sunset Boulevard in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know what? It's time to go racing. Let's get her done!
Hi, I'm Daylin Woods. Welcome to Woods Family Sandwiches. I've always had a passion for food. When I lived in England, I owned my own restaurant. Then when we moved back to the United States, an opportunity came to open a sandwich shop, and I just wanted to get back into it. We have here at Woods Family Sandwiches wraps as well as salads and soups. We offer only the finest ingredients to our customers. We have boar's head meats and cheeses. We have fresh bread, fresh produce, great soups daily that we prepare for our customers, kosher whole pickles, Deep River Kettle One chips. We have a variety of wraps, or you can make any sub a wrap, any sub a salad. Come on in for our daily specials. We are located at 931 American Pacific, number 106, Henderson, or call us for your deliveries or pickups at 702-826-2230. Here at Woods Family Sandwiches, we're family owned and operated.
We are looking forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to Geeks Are Sexy. I'm Jason LeDuc, here to talk to you today about all the things you need to do to be successful with your business and in your personal life. And one of those things that we all have to deal with, whether we're in business or just in our personal life, is taxes. And my good friend Chris DiLorenzo is here today to talk to us about some of the changes in the new tax law, some of the things that are settled, and some of the things we're still waiting for some more information so that you don't get caught unaware and maybe make some decisions that might not be in your best interest today when you might want to wait for some more information. So Chris started his company, CMD, to help ensure businesses and individuals found a competent partner to sustain and grow their profitability. More than just a standard accounting firm, he specializes in small business accounting solutions using cloud technology, including virtual CFO services. And that's what I think is so fascinating about your company, is that's not what everyone out there is offering. And so I want to get to that a little bit today too. Audit reviews, compilations of business financial statements, and what Chris is here to talk about today, tax planning and preparation. Chris, thank you for being here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So before we get to the tax stuff, tell us why you started your business and how all that came about.
Yeah, sure. So I started my business about 15 years ago, right around when I got my CPA license. Started very small, really part-time as a tax planner and tax preparer. At the same time, I was working as an executive for a couple of multi-billion-dollar companies, running their internal audit department. And while I was growing that organization, I started growing my business a bit too. I left there about a year ago and have been working in my business ever since.
And you've been working your butt off since you went full-time in your business,
yeah.
I know.
It's definitely a different environment.
So tell us about these virtual CFO services, because this is the thing that I think is so fascinating about your business.
Yeah, so what I found, certainly coming from the environment that I've come in with large-scale organizations, lots of small businesses have a great need for a CFO, but they can't afford the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year bill that comes with having a CFO. So what I've done is I've created this virtual CFO environment where I help clients that need things that a CFO would do on an ad hoc type of basis. So, whether that's budgeting and forecasting to help them figure out how their business year is going and where they should be looking to cut costs or expand to help grow, to really just be that partner with the organization to allow the business owner to focus on running the business and let me help focus on the financials of the business for them.
I think that's so important, because as business owners, it's important for us to be decision makers and to be leaders. And if you're a business owner who's really good at making your widgets or your product or selling your service, that's great. That's really important. That's what you should be focused on as a business owner. But if you don't know how to read financial statements, you can make decisions that aren't so great because you don't really understand the information that's being put in front of you. And you are bringing not just the bookkeeping, the accounting, and saying, here you go, here's your numbers. You're bringing the knowledge and the ability to help a business owner make decisions about what they should do next quarter, next year, long term beyond that with their business. And I think that's such a valuable service that so if you don't know how to read a financial statement, connect up with Chris. But the reason we brought you here today, we want to talk about this the tax piece, the tax education piece, and so what are the important changes that have happened for businesses at the end of last year and this year, and what's settled? I want to make sure we get a really good handle on what's already decided, and then what do we need to kind of watch out for? Where are we waiting for more information from the government on the tax situation?
Yeah, so as far as the businesses are concerned, the biggest change that's happened with businesses are really two, and one is settled and one is not. So the first one that's settled is for C corporations, which is the type of corporation a business is when they initially incorporate. The tax rate has now been set at a flat 21% tax rate, and they've gotten rid of the alternative minimum tax calculation for corporations. So that's settled, that's done. If you are a C corporation already, if that's been the best business model for you, you're very, very happy about that. That's going to save you a lot of money. The part that's going to save the smaller businesses a lot of money is this new law that's passed. It's called the Section 199 Cap A deduction. And so what that is for pass-through business entities, for S corporations, partnerships, sole proprietorships. There's a 20% deduction that you can get on your profit that you'll take on your personal tax return as a result of this being there. It's way more complicated than I just said.
Yeah, and this is what you may have heard. This is QBI, right?
This is QBI.
If you've heard of QBI, this is what people are talking about. But it's this. If you are a pass-through and we're going to talk about business entities and what's the smart thing to do.
Yep.
But if you're a pass-through, and that includes if you're an LLC, a single-member LLC, right? Because you do that pass-through taxes. Different if you're a multi-member LLC, right?
Nope, it's still pass.
Still the same. Okay.
Different
See,
return.
I'm learning something
but it's
too.
still a pass-through entity.
So, but yeah, so that's that QBI, and that's the piece that's not quite 100% settled, right?
Exactly, and as recent as a couple of weeks ago, I think it was maybe the first week or so in August, the way things work is so Congress puts out the law, this is the tax law of what we're going to be doing, and then the IRS comes in and interprets it with regulations of how they're going to enforce that law effectively, right? And so the IRS just came out with the Treasury regulations, is that a couple of weeks ago, and they're now out for public comment. So in there they helped clarify a few different items, what a service business is, which has some different ramifications, and really how that deduction will take shape, what's in, what's out, those types of things.
And there are some income levels and numbers out there, and you guys can go look those up online, but stay tuned because that might not be for everybody, and those numbers might change. So that's just what we really want to get across here. Is there's still more to follow on this, but it sounds like, and I'm going to lead the witness a little bit here, but it sounds like right now a C Corp might be the best idea for a small business. What do you think the best business entity is for a small business, whether you're forming now or maybe you've been around a while?
Yeah, it honestly totally depends. And I challenge you a little bit on the C Corp being the best form of business.
Well, like I said, I'm leading the witness.
And really the reason for that is, so the C Corp is really good when you're making a lot of money, right? Because if you're a pass-through entity, as the profit is passing through your business, you're going to get taxed at your individual rates.
Right.
Your individual rate very well may be less than 21%, not only in the actual bracket you're in, but the way the system works, you get part of your money taxed at 10%, part of your money taxed at all these percentages. So when you take the effective tax rate, 21% actually may be higher than what your individual rate is. So really the situation is totally dependent on the type of business you are, whether it's a service-based business or a non-service-based business, how much money you're making, how much your spouse is making, how much other money you're making.
That was something that it wasn't a huge surprise to me, but what stood out to me is when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is this is your household income, not just your business or personal income.
Right, for the QBI.
For the QBI,
QBI deduction, yeah. So with all of those factors in there, you can't just say this one is the best, because for me it may be a C corporation, for you it may be an S corporation, for somebody else it may be a sole proprietor. And so we just kind of need to have a conversation, run the numbers, and figure out what it is. One point I'd just like to make on that is the election. So the election of what you're going to be taxed as. So once you make that election, if you're electing to be taxed as an S corporation, for example, you have to maintain that for 5 years before you can change it.
Good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that you don't just do it and then come talk to me to say, okay, did I do it right? Because now we've got 5 years to deal with it if you did it wrong. So just something to be aware of. It's a 5-year rule.
Okay, cool. Well, so what I'm hearing is get out your old taxes, everybody's favorite thing to do, and talk to your accountant or talk to your CFO or virtual CFO and run the numbers, run the possibilities, and really think it through before you make any changes.
Absolutely.
So any other last piece of advice? Any piece of advice for us on our personal taxes under the new tax law?
Yeah, so for personal taxes, there's probably, 3 big changes that's going to affect everybody. So first off, personal exemptions are gone.
Yes.
So for anybody, for you and yourself, yourself, your spouse, your dependents, you used to get about a $4,000 deduction that you could take as an exemption. That's gone. What they've replaced that with is they've also doubled the standard deductions. So what we're going to find is a lot of people may not be itemizing their deductions anymore, so that side may become a little bit easier. For example, if you were married filing joint last year, you had a $12,700 standard deduction. Well, in 2018, that's $24,000. So we'll have to play around to see which way you're going to go, but a lot more people may be opting for the standard now instead of the...
Run the numbers on both, work it from both sides. And if you have an accountant or need an accountant, talk to an accountant and have that conversation. Well, Chris, it was great to have you here on the show. We're going to bring you back for our panel discussion in just a few minutes. But tell our audience where they can find you if they're looking to have that conversation with an accountant about what things they should be thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So easiest way to find me is online. You can find me through my website, which is www.cmdcpa.com. And all my information you can find there. You can find tons of reviews about my business from there, as well as some great blog articles to keep you up to date.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on the website. Tons of good reviews. Chris is very highly regarded in the community. So I'm Jason LeDuc. This is Geeks Are Sexy. We'll be right back with Sonny Chabreau.
Gene Wood's Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and three-time champion, packs big racing action into extremely fast, high-performance karts that let you battle the other competitors side by side, just inches off the ground. Though the Las Vegas Strip provides a glittering backdrop, to the drivers at Gene Wood's Racing Experience, the blinking lights are all a blur. Behind the wheel of the high-performance karts, you'll zip around the half-mile track at speeds faster than other standard racing karts' top speeds. Drivers learn to commandeer the speedy karts through an instructional video before they are let loose onto the curving track for 10 heart-pounding laps. We are located at 121 East Sunset Boulevard in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know what? It's time to go racing. Let's get her done!
Hi, I'm Daylin Woods. Welcome to Woods Family Sandwiches. I've always had a passion for food. When I lived in England, I owned my own restaurant. Then when we moved back to the United States, an opportunity came to open a sandwich shop, and I just wanted to get back into it. We have here at Woods Family Sandwiches wraps as well as salads and soups. We offer only the finest ingredients to our customers. We have boar's head meats and cheeses. We have fresh bread, fresh produce, great soups daily that we prepare for our customers, kosher whole pickles, Deep River Kettle One chips. We have a variety of wraps, or you can make any sub a wrap, any sub a salad. Come on in for our daily specials. We are located at 931 American Pacific, number 106, Henderson, or call us for your deliveries or pickups at 702-826-2230. Here at Woods Family Sandwiches, we're family owned and operated.
We are looking forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to Geeks Are Sexy. I'm Jason LeDuc, filling in for Michelle Davis on the fourth Thursday of every month, talking about business and how to be successful here in Las Vegas. And of course, one of the things we always talk about is business is great, making money is great. We love that here, but we also want to use our businesses to help make our communities a better place. And my next guest is Sonny Chabreau from the Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation. Did I get it all right?
You got it right.
All right, great. Sonny is a Gold Star mom and founder of the foundation, the Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation, and it's a volunteer nonprofit dedicated to providing comfort and support to service members and their families. And we're going to talk about the great things you do for our folks up at Nellis and our Garden Reserve guys and even the families and spouses in the area.
Right.
But before we get into that, you named this foundation for your son, Doug, and I want you to tell us about Doug and how we got to having this foundation today.
Sure. Well, again, my name is Sonny. I'm a Gold Star mom, and not everybody out there knows what that is, but it's someone that if you have a son or a daughter who's been killed in action, And unfortunately, that's what happened to my son, Doug, in August 28th, 2011. Right after he was killed, I decided to start a nonprofit organization after him. And I thought there was no better way to honor him was to do something that he loved. And what he loved was getting care packages sent to him on each tour that he was on. And every time he was on tour, he would say, "Mom, I need this, I need that, I need this, and I need that." And I would have no problem sending him and his other brothers and sisters that he was deployed with as well. So I was sending him up to 10 to 15 boxes a week, and he loved them so much. And so starting the nonprofit and actually taking care of the other men and women that are still deployed, it's no better way to honor him. And so his anniversary of being killed in action is this month. It's actually next week, August 28th. And so I just enjoy doing it, and the men and women that are over there right now deployed, especially from this area, appreciate it so much.
And I can tell you from my time in Iraq that coming in and having a care package in my little area, you know, even if it wasn't from a family member, but the things that your organization, other organizations put together, having something to open up and having a couple of snacks and just, you know, some fun things from back home, whether it's a magazine or a book or something, or a DVD to watch, is it means so much to us when we're over there.
It's so true, and I was telling Jason as well that not only are they getting their favorite snacks, but when their name is called and they go up and they get that package and they open it up, and not only is it what they want, but it represents home. It represents we're thinking about them in the USA, that we haven't forgotten about them. We know they're over there, and that right there means so much to them. And so that's another reason why it's important to keep sending them until the last one comes home, which I don't think it's going to be a very long time.
That's okay. We'll keep sending them.
Exactly. And right now I'm sending them everywhere from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Africa, Romania, on ships, on the Marines on ships. So it's just never ending, and they're over there fighting ISIS, and it's so important to know that we're thinking about them, and of course giving them what they want, the magical munchies, I call it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing that. And so that is primarily what the foundation does, is put together these care packages. So tell us a little bit about how you do that throughout the year, how you bring to the community to do this, and especially how you're supporting our deployed folks out of Nellis Air Force Base, because Nellis is a good-sized base, but it's not a huge Air Force base. But we have 300 people currently deployed out of Nellis right now.
We do. So it's a rotation of 300 people, 300 men and women, I should say, and we can't forget about the women because it's almost half women as well. And what 300 will go over there, overseas, either Iraq, Afghanistan, and then when those 300 come back, it's a rotation. The next 300, they go and they're deployed as well. So I make sure that I send them what they want, and when they come back, I have events mostly during Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, and in September as well. And a lot of them come out and help us package the care packages, and it's so great because not just the men and women from Nellis that come out and help, but we have people come from all over the Las Vegas Valley, and when we have events, people come and call and they email me and they ask if they can volunteer, and they all come out like an hour before to tape the boxes because I use the priority boxes. So they tape them, they go into the assembly line, they help me package them. And what I love about it so much is that people bring their children that are 2 years old up to their grandparents who are 90. You know, you're never too old and you're never too young, I think, to do community service. So it's really a family affair. And always afterwards, I'll get an email or they'll call me and they'll say, "It was so much fun. When are you having the next one?" So I encourage everybody to come on out across the valley and help. And it's just a great, rewarding experience to give back and to keep that awareness out there with the community that there's still so many men and women that are deployed, and that they want the support. They need the support. And I like to keep that out there.
And so the care package is wonderful. Well, you do more for the community, and you told me a wonderful story when we sat down for coffee the other day about a young woman in the post office.
Right.
And can you tell us her story and the kinds of things you're trying to do to help these young women or even young men who are military spouse in the community?
Absolutely. You know, I was at the post office, the Summerlin post office, and I was in my little area, and I was boxing up care packages, and I looked over, and there was two other girls. I'm calling them girls because they were in their 20s, and I overheard what they were doing, and it looked like they were packaging up something. It looked like they might have somebody deployed. I interrupted their conversation, and I said, "Are you happy to be packing this up for someone deployed?" And she said, "Yes, my husband, he's deployed, he's a Marine, he's on a ship." And I said, "Well, first of all, you're using the wrong kind of box." And she laughed, and I told her what I did. I told her I had a nonprofit, and what we do is send care packages, and I showed her the right box. I showed her how to fill out the custom form, and I took that box, and we actually pay for it, because that's what we do. That's what my foundation does, is we pay for shipping. And she was just dumbfounded. She just couldn't believe it. So we went up there, we paid for her box, and I said, "Anytime your husband wants anything, please call me, we'll send it." And you know, she felt, you know, alone, you know, in this community, and I want people to know that they're not alone. If they have a husband, spouse, brother, sister, friend deployed, to reach out to me, and I'll make sure that they can come to our events and customize their own package for their loved one. And that's what we like to do. And another reason, it's expensive for some people, and it can add up if you want to send your loved one or a friend a care package, even 3 a week. That can add up to over $100 a week. So that's why we like to step in and really help the community and know that they're not alone if they have someone deployed, that we're there to talk to and support them as well.
And one of the reasons this story is so compelling is this is a young woman who grew up here.
She did.
But her husband, when he's not deployed, is stationed somewhere else.
Yes.
And so she's living here with her family. And
Correct.
so she doesn't have the squadron or the unit back at the home base to help her out with those things, and that's the way that your organization is really helping fill in some of the gaps. Nellis does a great job.
Yeah.
You know, all of our support organizations do a great job, but this is one more way you're really helping out. And I know you get a lot of support when you do your care package events, but you need help throughout the year too doing other things. How can someone who wants to get involved, in addition to coming and helping pack up care packages and ship care packages, how can someone who wants to get involved and stay involved be part of the organization?
Well, to volunteer, sure. They can come on out and help me throughout the year if they'd like to volunteer, if they want to give back. They can reach me on our website, the Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation, and leave me a message. We welcome volunteers all year long to help us do correspondence, to work in the storage, to organize all the munchies, because we like to store a lot of munchies because we have to be ready for our events. But yeah, we always welcome all the volunteers all year long, and that's always welcome.
All right, well, that's great. And, you know, so coming out, help the Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation. Sonny, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you and the foundation, and if you have any events coming up in the next few weeks or few months.
Absolutely. Well, we're partnering up with Inspirata, and that's going to be for President's Day, and we always do one in November going towards the holidays. But if anybody would like to donate to our cause, meaning that the government, yes, does not pay for care packages, so we strictly pay 100% of the profits goes to the postage. So if anyone would like to donate, we're 501c3, we're a write-off. They can go on and message me, or if you have a company and you want to have a nonprofit to donate to over the holidays or work with us, we can partner up with a company and we can do all sorts of great things. So yeah, they can go on www.douglasjgreen.org, or they can find us on Facebook as well.
That's great. Well, thank you for Doug's service. Thank you for your service and all the things you're doing for this community as well. So
thank you, Jason. And also,
I'm breaking up a little bit
he's
here.
A veteran, so thank him for his service and sacrifice.
Yeah, so we are going to have you right back for our panel discussion. Just stay right there. Don't move. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're going to bring Chris and Greg back. This is Geeks Are Sexy. I'm Jason LeDuc. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Gene Wood's Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and 3-time champion, packs big racing action into extremely fast, high-performance karts that let you battle the other competitors side by side, just inches off the ground. Though the Las Vegas Strip provides a glittering backdrop, to the drivers at Gene Wood's Racing Experience, the blinking lights are all a blur. Behind the wheel of the high-performance karts, you'll zip around the half-mile track at speeds faster than other standard racing karts' top speeds. Drivers learn to commandeer the speedy karts through an instructional video before they are let loose onto the curving track for 10 heart-pounding laps. We are located at 121 East Sunset Boulevard in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know what? It's time to go racing. Let's get her done!
Hi, I'm Daylin Woods. Welcome to Woods Family Sandwiches. I've always had a passion for food. When I lived in England, I owned my own restaurant. Then when we moved back to the United States, an opportunity came to open a sandwich shop, and I just wanted to get back into it. We have here at Woods Family Sandwiches wraps as well as salads and soups. We offer only the finest ingredients to our customers. We have boar's head meats and cheeses. We have fresh bread, fresh produce, great soups daily that we prepare for our customers, kosher whole pickles, Deep River Kettle One chips. We have a variety of wraps, or you can make any sub a wrap, any sub a salad. Come on in for our daily specials. We are located at 931 American Pacific, number 106, Henderson, or call us for your deliveries or pickups at 702-826-2230. Here at Woods Family Sandwiches, we're family owned and operated.
We are looking for a premium.
Welcome back to Geeks Are Sexy. I'm Jason LeDuc from Evil Genius Leadership Consultants. We've brought all three of our guests back to be on our panel. I want to say hello to my friend Alex, who's watching on Facebook Live. Thanks for watching, Alex. Everybody wave to Alex and make him feel welcome. It's great to have you here. But what I want to talk about in our panel discussion today, and this came from our conversation when we had coffee the other day, you had such a positive attitude. We talked about how even very tragic things in our lives, very, very difficult setbacks, successful people find ways to find a positive attitude when everything in the world seems like it's going wrong, when everything seems like it's against you. And that was very much your story as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how you found the strength, how you went through what you went through with your son and came out the other side with all the great work you're doing in the community?
Sure, Jason. Well, you know, I think that right after my son was killed, I knew that it was really important that I had a choice. Either I was going to fall and drown, or I was going to somehow stay strong. And, you know, and I made a decision like a week after he was killed that somehow I had to turn my pain into strength. And that's what I did. And in order to do that, it's like when you get out of bed every morning. I know, you have a choice. So before you get out of bed, are you going to have a good day or are you going to have a bad day? And it's like before you get out of bed, I just say, okay, so you're going to get out of bed and you're going to have a good day and you're going to be strong today. And I think if you can take something so horrific like what I went through and turn it into something so amazing, there's no better way to honor a loved one that has been killed, or someone close to you, a friend that has passed. There's no better way to honor that person is to do something so amazing, and pay it forward. And that to me is a great way to do it. But again, it's all about choices and making that choice every day. And I just find that when you have so much pain, you can somehow make it into something so great.
Yeah, and I would never wish that on anybody, that kind of pain or that kind of challenge on anybody. But that is something we face in our businesses every day. Not to belittle what you've just told us.
No, I mean even in little ways.
But,
you have a bad day.
But so Greg, what is something you found? What is one of the very first big challenges you faced when you started your business, and how did you dig deep and find the strength to overcome it? Because sometimes we get a great idea to start a business and we just go, you know what? Too hard. We see a lot of that out there, right? 3 months, 6 months down the road, somebody's like, I'm not doing that. How have you found the strength to keep going?
Yeah, well, and let me back up just one step, because part of the reason I started my business is because I moved to Vegas a few years ago for a job, and after a couple of years at that company, there was some restructuring. My job was eliminated, and that really was tough to deal with. But I kind of dug deep, as Sammy said, and
Sammy, that's okay.
And so, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, that's my fault. I didn't give everybody the intel briefing.
And decided this was something that I wanted to try, to take the experience I had and the expertise I had and apply it in a different way. And it's it's exciting, it's exhilarating, but it's challenging. I've always worked for companies where people tell you what to do, and now I have to go out and find business. But that's the fun part, because when you grow something on your own, you really can take pride in it. But you do have to dig deep, and resiliency is a word that you hear a lot about, and I think there's a lot to that, being able to bounce back, learn from adversity that you have, and come out on the other side.
Absolutely. So, Chris, what's a challenge that you're facing in your business, either in the past, a big one in the past, or something that you're facing right now? Because you're here, you look like you've got it all together. You gave us great information about taxes. You got all the numbers. I know you know them all off the top of your head, but I'm sure you're facing challenges as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll take it in a little bit of a different direction and talk about a more technical challenge that my business sometimes faces. So I do things very differently, as I was kind of been explaining to you. I do everything in the cloud. Everything I do is technological and in the digital age. And when you do taxes, or accounting for that matter, sometimes people they want to see their accountant they've been seeing once a year, right around March or April, and hand them a stack of paper and wait for them to do the return, then come back, see them again, sign off on everything, take it, mail it, and be done with it. And that's not how my business operates. My business is very different than that.
Yeah,
I think it's a better model that helps save people time, where I do everything in the cloud. But the challenge with that I find is sometimes people are scared of technology. They don't understand the encryption of having your data up in something like Dropbox, which is what I'll use for my clients, is actually more secure than this paper you have right here, because somebody can just steal this. Right?
There's nothing important on this. This is a bunch of scribbles I made, so it doesn't really matter.
But had it been important, right? Storing it in an encrypted method in the cloud is just a lot safer way to do it, and it's a lot easier for you because you don't have to worry about making an appointment. So really, the technical business challenge that I'll face from time to time is getting people over that hump.
So how do you get them over that hump?
Yeah, so I have a pretty good success rate with doing it, and a lot of it is just getting them comfortable with me, getting them comfortable with technology, and explaining to them, like I've been explaining to you, a little bit more about it. A great thing that I've been able to do is I have a lot of great clients that are very supportive of my business, and they give me great reviews. So they talk a little bit about the technology-driven approach that I've been doing for years, and how efficient it is for them, and how much they like it. So that's how I get them over that hump a little bit.
Okay, yeah, and so one of the things I found when I started my business, I had a hard time asking other people for help. Where's something where you had to go ask someone for help, whether it was in this business or in your previous career? Was there a time you had a really hard time going to ask somebody for help?
Yeah, I have, and I still do that every day. I know a little bit about human resources and a little bit about employment and labor law, but I don't know a lot about marketing, about business development, about social media, and so I reach out to other people who are starting their own small businesses, other consultants who are out there, because you can always learn from other people. I'm a big believer in asking for help, finding out other ways of doing things, reaching out. broadening your network and really learning something new every day.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so hard to ask for help. It was a lesson I really had to get over. I came from the Air Force, being in 20 years, and after 20 years in the Air Force, it was, I'm the guy who has the answers. I'm not the guy who has to ask for help, right? And then it's like starting at zero again, and it's exciting and it's fun, but it's also a little scary sometimes. Now, Sunny, I know you're always looking for donors.
Yes, we are.
You have nonprofits always have big challenges, whether it's just getting volunteers to show up or getting those donations from those corporate partners.
Yeah, I have no problem asking for help.
I know you. I know you don't. So, who are, whether it's us around this table or people in our audience, who are some people you'd like to be connected to, or where you could use some help getting connected to certain people or donors?
Well, we'd like to just reach out to companies that, they have, a lot of companies like to have people to volunteer for certain organizations, and we would love to be promoted within companies. A lot of people like to have nonprofit organizations attached to whoever they are. We love to partner up. We partner up with Inspirata and a whole community. So yeah, we're always looking for volunteers or someone they would love to partner up with. But getting back to your one question about being uncomfortable and doing something new and getting out of your comfort zone is, I started a chocolate business, which I know I didn't tell you, and I thought about
you don't
this
need my permission.
when I was listening to you guys talk, and I wanted to say anybody out there is listening who wants to start up a small business, and it's your passion and you're scared. I always wanted to start up my own chocolate business, but it took my son to die for me to get the strength to do it. And, I want to tell everybody out there, go and do it. Don't wait till something traumatic happens. Be uncomfortable and start that business anyway, and you'll see it'll usually be a success if you do it uncomfortable.
That's right. Anything worth doing is going to make you a little uncomfortable.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Thank you all for being here today. We're running to the end of our time, but Chris, tell our audience one more time where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you if they're looking for some accounting or virtual CFO help.
Yeah, so you can find me online through my website, which is www.cmdcpa.com.
All right, Sunny, how can we reach the foundation or you?
www.Douglas J. Green Memorial Foundation. We're also on Facebook, or Sunny Shabro on Facebook. And anybody can reach out to me if they need any kind of care packages or donations. I'm always around.
And Greg, how can everybody find you?
Easiest way is www.endunamo.com.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for being here. Alex, thank you for watching. It's great to have a guest on the Facebook Live.
Hi, Alex.
And I'm Jason LeDuc from Evil Genius Leadership Consultants. This is Geeks Are Sexy. We will be back on the 4th Friday of September. I don't know the date. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Thank you for watching. We love to have you here. Please get in touch with our guests. Please get in touch with Sunny if you want to make a donation. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gene Wood's Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and 3-time champion, packs big racing action into extremely fast, high-performance karts that let you battle the other competitors side by side.